So, The Little Mermaid 1989 has to be one of my least favorite Disney princess films. Now, understand what I've just said there. I did not say that I dislike the original Little Mermaid. What I'm saying is that when it comes to the Disney princess films that I enjoy, The Little Mermaid is the bottom tier of that category. Whereas my favorite Disney film, yes, I'm aware this might be a bit cliche here, is Beauty and the Beast. So I was always very wary of these Disney remakes when they first started. I can't exactly remember which one was the first, but I believe it was, in fact, Beauty and the Beast. I watched about 30 minutes of the Beauty and the Beast remake and I swiftly turned that bitch off. Girl, I'm gonna be honest, it just was not it. And I was sad about doing that because I watched the remake in preparation for The Little Mermaid. And I was just all like, if this is the bar, if Beauty and the Beast is my favorite Princess Disney film, and I could not even make it an hour into the remake, there is no way my least favorite Disney princess film, the remake, there's no way I can finish it. However, I've just finished The Little Mermaid 2023, and it has got to be the best Disney remake that they will probably ever make, or at least at this point, the best one that they've put out thus far. And that's a good thing, but also rather sad. So video games and movies are my primary source of mediums that I love to enjoy. Video games by far is my favorite medium. And one thing that gamers have a lot of issues with is video game remakes, which is something that I will never understand. So the thing about video games is that they expire very, very fast. Let's take a game like Final Fantasy VII from 1997. That game at one point in history used to be one of the best looking games on the original PlayStation. People used to look at that game and be all like, yo, these are the best graphics that gaming can see. Whereas look today, some almost 1997, like 20 something years, maybe like 24 years ago, somewhere around there, playing that game in today's climate is just so different from playing that game originally in 1997. You want to know what medium doesn't have that issue? Film. Take a film that also released in 1997, Perfect Blue or Princess Mononoke. Those films you can still watch today. Or 2001's freaking Spirited Away. Films that released close to almost 2 decades or even close to 3 decades ago. They will still be watchable because the bar for movies and films, they don't expire as quickly as games do. They are still enjoyable. A film that was enjoyable in 2001 can still be enjoyable today in 2023 in the same capacity as it originally released in. The reason why I'm having this preface here is because gamers love to say that insert game released in 2005, close to 2 decades ago, is perfect and doesn't need a remake. I 100% disagree, but one thing I will agree on is that films released in the 90s or the 80s are not old enough to require a remake. And that's why I wonder, why are these being made? But wait, Evie, didn't you enjoy the movie? Absolutely, I 100% did. The thing that was looming over my head as I was watching the film, however, was that there is already a perfect film out there that will want, no matter how good this film will be, no matter how good I think this film is, the original Little Mermaid 1989 will always overshadow this film because ultimately it did not need to be made. Overall, The Little Mermaid 2023, I enjoyed this film, but there were so many times that I was watching a specific scene or a specific performance in a scene, and I thought to myself, this would have been so much better animated, or the scene comparison was so much better animated. And I was wondering why that is. Is that a good criticism? And while I do think it is, there was one person's performance that just made me go, oh, wait a minute. I don't think this needs to be animated. I just think the performance needed a bit more oomph. So one person who I feel like just completely stole the show was Melissa McCarthy. Her rendition of Ursula was, oh my God. Every scene that she was in, she completely stole the show. Even the person who did the, yassified Ursula, when she, takes Ariel's voice, even she did a perfect job portraying Ursula. But there were lots of, acting in the film that I just went, girl, can you at least, can you do something more with this? It feels rather flat. And there were lots of lines lifted straight from the animated film, but the jokes just fell flat. Because a lot of the comedy came from the exaggeratedness of the animation. And when you're doing something live action, there are people who can portray that larger than life attitude within their voice and the way that they carry themselves. But there wasn't a lot of that in this movie. Hi, hello there. Is Evie about to make a reference to High School Musical again? Bitch, you already know I am. So there was one song for Prince Eric, and he was walking on a beach or whatever, doing his little musical number. And I couldn't help but feel glimpses of Troy Bolton from High School Musical 2, right? But the thing is, and I don't know the actor's history, the one who plays Prince Eric, but it felt like I was watching a middle school or high school performance of Zac Efron's Bet on It. And it's like, girl, you remember that scene? You remember the end scene of Bet on It, when it looked like Zac was about to do some hardcore acrobatism, some gymnastics or something, but all he did was jump around and spin around in the golf field. It's it was clear that it would have been better if he did a few flips and stuff like that, but he couldn't. But at least he gave it his all. He tried. He gave us something. I'm just Eric, be something. Throw your hands in the air. Put your fingers through your hair. Scream out into the sky and just give me something. Anything. And, in the end, what we got was just him, looking around all dazed and just putting his hands, I don't even remember. It just wasn't as theatrical as I would have hoped. The songs, however, were amazing. Everybody was a really good singer in this movie, which is strange for I don't want to say complaint that I have, but again, this goes back to this movie just did not need to be made. It's Hailey Bailey is a 100, not to put these two women up against each other, Jodie Benson, the original voice of Ariel, and then Hailey Bailey, the new one. They are both good singers. But girl, come on. Hailey Bailey is the better singer out of let's call it what it is. And that shouldn't matter. But also, the original version of Ariel's songs and every other song in this film will still be better in the original because it just didn't need to be remade. Like, I'm listening to Haley sing her heart out, and she's hitting these notes. She's absolutely lovely. But I'm just like, girl, you not doing this better than than Jodie. And Haley's a better singer. She is. Nobody's denying that. But I'm just like, girl, the original's too tough. It is. I'll say it like this. The new movie, the one thing that it did right that I loved, I felt more connected towards Ariel and Prince Eric's relationship. In the original movie, I didn't care about their relationship whatsoever, but in this movie, it really felt it's up there with how I love Belle and Beast's relationship in Beauty and the Beast. I don't think it can ever top it because Beauty and the Beast will forever be my favorite Disney princess movie. But it was bro, I'm gonna be honest, I got a lot of butterflies watching Ariel and Eric together, and when they finally had their kiss at the end, it was a really lovely step up from the original. I will 100% say that, and especially the ending. I think the ending was just the whole final act was so cute. Oh, and I guess two things that the original movie and the remake did was somehow still solidified my attraction to Ursula. Like, I'm gonna be honest, like, I don't know, like, what does this say about me? Like, I was attracted to Ursula in the animated film, and I'm attracted to Ursula in the new one. I'm just all like, yo, if you had told me beforehand that I would be attracted to Melissa McCarthy in a freaking, like, and I don't even know what do you call it? Am I a furry? Girl, I ain't no bro. Am I a fishy? Does this make me a fishy? Damn, I'm a fishy, y'all. So one last thing I want to touch on before I go is, honestly, again, I just don't feel like this film needed to be remade, specifically live action, because so much of what animation is and why that medium is so good is just diminished, especially if you're not going to go out and be larger than life in your performances in the live action remake. Like, and I'm trying not to rehash what everybody else says, but who the hell thought it was a good idea to remake Lion King with actual animals? Nigga, huh? But so if I'm a company knocking on the doors of a monopoly that wants to rehash nostalgia to all its freaking like 30-year-old adults and like children, what do? I'm going to be honest here, man. This might sound like a crazy idea, but how about instead of remaking animated classics as live-action movies, why don't you reanimate the animated fucking films? So the Disney films, princess films of the 90s, and I believe the first 3D animated film came in 2010, and I think it was Tangled. So the animated Disney films of well, actually no, it would have been, okay, so the 2000s and before, those films and the 3D animated movies of the 2010s and beyond, those are the different generations of animated Disney films. Think of how, let's take this back to gaming. Think of the graphical jump of the original PlayStation to the PlayStation 2. That is kind of replicated in Disney's 2D animation to 3D animation. And some people have qualms with the 3D animation and want to go back to the 2D animation, and that's 100% justified. But it's clear that Disney wants to keep going with 3D animation, and I think it would have been a better idea to remake these movies, if they really want to do this nostalgia bait, why not reanimate these animated movies in a 3D format? Again, there were lots of scenes in this movie that they added on for more added context in the original story that I thought, yo, this is actually really cool. But again, it would have been better animated, and I just can't get that out of my mind while I'm watching this movie. This movie's good, but still would have been more perfect. It would have been perfect if it was done in a different medium. I'm currently thinking of that one scene from Wreck-It Ralph 2, I believe, where I don't remember the name of the characters, but was her name Penelope, the princess of the little girl princess from Wreck-It Ralph, where she meets all the other Disney princesses, and we see them for the first time in 3D, and it doesn't look bad. It looks good. It's like you already have the framework, you already have the designs of these 2D princesses. Why not make them in 3D for a whole new generation of kids? You know, instead of giving these, like, let's call it what it is. The Little Mermaid is the best Disney remake that they've put out so far. And all the other ones have been complete dog ass, man. Like, give the new generation something to latch on to. Instead of these, like, nostalgia bait live action remakes, dog. It's not kosher, man. It's not cool, man. But so, like, what do you do with actors who actually did a really good job in this movie, like Halle Bailey, or somebody like the actor who portrayed Eric, or Melissa McCarthy? I think their performances were amazing. But I don't want to get too much into the whole, like, Twitter debate. I'm going to be honest, you lot who be glued on Twitter and the hate-dom on Twitter and TikTok and all those other social medias, y'all, keep that joint over there. I will not be talking about none of the controversies on here. Keep that bullshit over on y'all side of the internet. I go outside. I have no care in the world for any of that shit. You can say what you want. This is just my opinion. I don't like the fact that Hailey was given scraps. She is such a beautiful, talented actress. And same with everybody else. Well, I mean, Eric is an actress, but you know what I mean. These are amazing actors. And I don't like the fact that they were used on a movie that will forever be overshadowed by the original, because the original will always reign supreme. And let's also get into the fact that this is a black princess. Okay? And again, this is the scraps of another princess that came out in 1989. Disney, give us our own fucking princess. What the hell? They gave Halle Bailey, this amazing ass singer, the scraps of some other actresses. Like, yo, like, I recently watched this movie. It's a movie called Stargirl. It's an adaptation of this book that used to be so popular when I was younger, I remember. And it was so amazing. And I didn't even realize that it was made by Disney until I looked it up afterwards. And I'm just all like, oh my gosh. Because one thing that I love, that I kind of felt sad about when I was watching the Disney Princess films, it was that there were so little films to watch. But then I was watching this film, Stargirl. And I was like, oh my gosh, I get the same sort of like Disney princessy sort of feel from this. And I was just all like, imagine if we had an original story with Halle Bailey singing her heart out to the prince or whatever guy or whatever love story that she would have had in an all new Disney movie, instead of being given literal scraps from a movie that came out 3 decades ago. I'm just so like, man, what alternate universe movie would we have then? You know? But these are just my thoughts on The Little Mermaid. Original Little Mermaid, while not my favorite Disney princess film, the remake probably will be my favorite live-action Disney princess film, and will more than likely be the last one I watch, because my favorite animated Disney princess film, Beauty and the Beast, is also my least favorite remake of a Disney princess film. Oh dear, Disney, please don't ever do this again. This is not a good model. Anyway, it's been Evie. Justice, I'll see you a lot later. Peace.